Well, in this video here clip, I'm gonna fix this is the broken cable for the blend air door for heat defrost off positions, and I can't find the little end, but I got this cable here that I'm gonna take the core wire out of. And I'm gonna put this core wire in so that this part here is at this end, like that's what's broken off, and then this end I can just make new. So what I'll do is I'll stuff this in and I'll oil it, believe me, before I make it final. And then I'll just get this up there and wrap it around like this around the little pin that it goes on. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to show up or not. Let's see if I can. No, that doesn't make any difference. But anyway, it's all the cable's in, and the blend air door and everything works. And when I turn on the fan, it blows nice out the floor here, as you can probably feel if you stick your hand under there through your screen. And then when I put it up to defrost, it definitely is coming out up here. You can hear the difference. So all that works now, and all good, all together. The heat controls and everything all work good. I'm going to start on sanding all the little bits that are supposed to be chrome on this today so I can paint this. I did call a chrome plater about the chrome for the interior, the shift lever and all that, and the Galaxie letters. And I called him today. He said to call him a week from today. So yeah, that's probably going to be another month before that's done. You know how that goes. Oh yeah, gives you that week or two every time you call them. So yeah. Anyway, in the interior, I have no clue when that's going to come either. So I'm just going to plug away at what I can. This video is made over a few days, so it's, if I repeat myself again, sorry, or cover things I've already covered. But one thing I do have to say, I don't know if I talked about it yesterday or not, but I got an email from the people that I'm getting the interior from, and it's supposed to be shipped today, so hopefully I'll get it in the next 2 or 3 days, hopefully by the weekend. But anyway, I'm just sanding on this black where I want to paint the chrome. I'm at 600 right now, and that's probably as fine as I'm going to go. I think it'll look fine. It's just a lot of fiddly business sanding all these little bits, and hoping to paint it today. If I don't today, tomorrow. It's snowing out right now, so I'll probably have to go out and clean the snow up a little later. I think they're only predicting a few inches, not like the snow we had the other day. And it is supposed to warm up next week, so maybe I can, like I say, start working on the, well, we'll see. We'll see what the interior and what I can get done there. But yeah, I gotta start thinking about doing the tires and wheels here soon too. But anyway, I'm just going to sand away here for a while, and when I get ready to spray it, I'll turn the camera back on. I got a lot of taping, a lot of sanding, a lot of taping. I got to sand this edge, all these little bits, this little bit around here. I already sanded this. Got to sand the little turn signal things. So I think all in all, it'll probably be the rest of the day to get it ready for paint. See, I got the little green things for the turn signals taped right there in a baggie so I don't lose them. And anyway, let me continue on here. I sanded it all out, went as far as 1000 grit. So now I'm ready to tape it, and this is the tape I'm going to use to, it's for good edge, for getting nice edges, so I don't get, overspray out. But this is ribbed, so hopefully I won't get any bleed into the ribs, as I am going to put on one heavy wet coat with the airbrush, Alright, so I'm going to start masking it right now, and then tomorrow I'll try and paint it. I gotta go, if you've looked at my past videos, that one with all the hoarder house with all the British cars, I gotta go up to Romeo tomorrow, and I'm going to that storage yard where all those cars were to show the fifth wheel trailer. Lynn's trying to sell it, and there's a prospective buyer that would like to look at it. So I gotta run up there with, I got the keys to the, I have a set of keys to the trailer and the card to get into the storage yard, and I gotta take a battery with me so we can run the slides, slide the slides out, and then if they decide to buy it, they want to take it to their property in Manistee and leave it there. So I think it's a pretty good chance it'll sell. It'd be nice. Well, I started taping the thing off, and tape it, I put a brand new razor blade in my knife so I could cut the tape edges as I needed. And true to form, I cut my finger immediately with it. Just touched it. So yeah, you got to be careful when you're using brand new razor blades. But anyway, let me get back to it. I'll stop this bleeding in a minute, and then I'll start finishing taping. This tape is kind of stretchy like electrical tape, and it's just harder to tear, so I try and just use a razor blade to cut it. And it's hard to do with one hand because I like to prop it against something, pull on the tape just a little bit, and then when you hit it with the razor blade, it cuts real nice and easy. And that way you don't end up with some nasty tear. Hopefully that showed up in the video, but that's how I cut tape, and I still gotta stop my finger from bleeding. I just spent a better part of probably 2 hours masking this thing off. So it's ready to paint, and I think I'm gonna just go ahead and shoot some paint on it, and hopefully it comes out. Hopefully I don't have to completely redo it. If it doesn't, I'll probably have to send it out and have it chromed and then paint it as much as I don't want to. But anyway, we're gonna give it a shot of paint and see what happens. Sorry, knocking you silly there. Yeah, it definitely needs thinner. Yeah, these little spots like these, it works great, but these bigger ones, it's a little harder. But we're getting it. Let me check my paint before I go further to make sure I have enough in there. And it looks like I do, but I'm just going to add a tad anyway, just because I got a lot to paint on that inside edge. Getting this stuff all over my fingers. I have chrome fingers. Oh, great. That wasn't very good touching this. See if we can repair it. It's looking good. Surprisingly, it's not reacting where I go over it again. Painting two edges. Doing one, then I'm going around doing the other. Yep, needing a little more paint. That looks pretty good. That's still wet where I was running into it there, so I think that'll look fine. Alright, I'm going to let that dry for a little while, then hopefully the masking tape doesn't pull the black off the plastic. You know, being plastic, that's always a possibility, but I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I'll clean my little airbrush and call it good. I think that's going to look nice. Let me there we go, get some light on it. Alright, let me clean out my mess. For the most part it came out good until you see where I pulled the tape off and it pulled the paint with the original chrome plating off. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to have to sand it out and repaint it. Yeah, it looks good other than that. And I'll sand this out, this black, and try and paint this top. Touch up some of these in here. But lesson learned, next time I'll sand the whole thing out to the bare plastic. I just sanded it out good enough for the paint to stick and the original chrome finish, because that's right down to bare plastic. There isn't any chrome or anything. The tape pulled it all off. So yeah, definitely lesson learned on that. You saw what went wrong with this. So this is the next day and all this peeled. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I could sit here and complain and whine about it, but that's not going to do any good. You know, this is not uncommon to have issues when you restore a whole car. And it's inevitable that you're going to run into some issues with it, and this has been one of the issues. This in here is all really nice. There's a little bit of peeled paint here, a little bit of peeled paint here where the original chrome pulled off the plastic. I should have sanded this in hindsight right down to the bare, all this right down to the bare plastic. So if any of you guys do one of these, learn from my mistake. Sand everything to the bare plastic. But to repair this, all in all, it actually looks pretty good other than this top and this top. So I'm going to 400 sand this out and this out right here, and then I can mask it here. Just repaint these little areas. And what I did, I touched this chrome while it was still wet on this part right here. So I'm going to repaint that too. But what I want to do is see if the tape's going to mess up that chrome look. So I'm going to put some tape on it, because then I'll know not to tape off on it. This is how I'm going to figure out. And this is the edging tape. Keep it in a baggie or something. You don't want to get dirt on the edge of your tape, you know, on this edge. So I'm gonna get a razor blade here. I just want to see how this is going to react with that chrome paint, because if all else I can repaint the chrome, and then it'd be easier to repaint the chrome, mask the chrome off, and then paint the black. But if I end up, the tape messes up the chrome, then I'll repaint the black, and I'll take the chrome, but I'll sand this full width down to the bare plastic. But I think what I'm going to do, in black you can't spot in. Generally you got to repaint the whole thing. I'm going to show you how to spot black in them, and I'll probably mask it somewhere around in here so I don't have to repaint any of this. That looks spectacular. I mean, look at that. That really came out nice there. For the most part, I had one little bit pull right there, and I can touch that up with it's so minor, I can touch that up a little bit there, and that's a little chrome overspray, and that'll come off with some car wax. But I'm not worried about that. That I can repair. If that was the extent of the damage, that would have been no worries. But seeing that it really pulled it in here, yeah, it's going to take some work. So yeah, the chrome sticks to the tape, so I can't mask the chrome off. So that's why I wanted to do that. You know, you just do things to see, so you can see how it messed up the chrome. Maybe if it was dry longer, but I don't have the patience. I'm gonna repaint the chrome the full width just here, and I touched it right there. You can see my fat fingerprint. Maybe does it show up? But anyway, it might not show up, but anyway, it's got a fingerprint right there, and I don't like it. So I did that when I was handling it, painting it. And so I'm going to sand this off, sand all this out, sand all this out, and we'll reshoot it. And I'm going to use 400 to do my initial sand out, because that'll really cut through stuff. And then I'm going to 600 it, and then maybe 1,000 it, we'll see. But yeah, I think it'll look nice when I'm done. I'm not too worried about this, you know. I can put the car together without this and work on it as I feel like. Oh, and when the interior kit comes, I'll do a video on that. This video is over 3 or 4 days, so again, if I repeat myself, sorry. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend my day probably sanding today, and we're supposed to get snow showers this afternoon, so I doubt I'll have it ready for paint. But if I do, I probably won't paint it until tomorrow anyway, or the next day. But I just wanted to start working at it and getting it ready to refinish. I mean, the dash is ready for this, and it's just going to look superb on there. I really like the way that chrome came out. Looks super, super nice. So I'll probably have to repaint the chrome in here too, because I'm going to have to mask this to paint this black. So I'll sand that chrome out at the same time. This stuff's all good. I'm just going to leave the ends alone, and because that was where the time this part, masking this part wasn't that hard. It's these ends that was difficult. There's little ribs in this, and I didn't want the paint to bleed in between those ribs, so I had to make sure the paint tape was really stuck down to it. Anyway, let me go to town here with the sandpaper, and then when it's all sanded out, I'll make a little video, maybe in a couple of different videos. So anyway, let me get to it here. This chrome just sands off effortlessly. I really find it actually pretty easy to work with, this chrome paint. It cleans off easily, like if I have to redo it. It sprays on nicely. It takes very little to, there's still a lot in that 30 milliliter bottle. I have enough to probably do a dozen of these or more. And just goes a long ways, that chrome paint. You need very little of it. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and, you know, I could complain about this, but what good is that going to do, complaining about problems? The easiest way to solve your problems is just to get in there and work on it, you know. I mean, this is the only way. This isn't going to fix itself. So instead of swearing or complaining about it or having a meltdown or a hissy fit, I just kind of come out here and work on it and plug away at it. That's, you know, it's part of, like I say again, it's part of doing restoration work. You're going to run it. If you don't run into problems, you're not doing restoration good. There are always going to be problems. There's absolutely no getting around it. And I'm going to sand everything that's going to be masked up to this because I'm going to have to paint this after this. And I don't want it to pull up again. So everything from here this way is going to be bare plastic. I'm going to take where that blue tape, the width of it, full length is going to be bare plastic. I don't want, and maybe even a little more. And I got to feather this so you don't see the imperfections. But I don't know. I might just repaint this whole part, and I can mask it right down here. And because this piece I can repaint too. It's, you know, I don't know. I'll just plug away at it. I mean, you know, who am I to sit here and complain about this problem? Look at these poor people in Texas. Oh my God. Yeah, my problems are zero compared to their problems. And so that's the way I look at things, okay? You know, yeah, you know, it's not fun redoing this, but you know what? It can always be worse. And I just count my blessings that this is all I have to do right now is sand this out and redo it. It's just really no big deal. And especially with this cold and the snow, and you know, it just gets me out and gives me something to do, putz with. And I actually like restoring cars, probably as much as enough, if not more than driving them. I just like to putz with them, work on them. And driving them is fun, don't get me wrong. I love to drive them, but for some odd reason, I like to work on them too. Just to me, it's very gratifying to make chicken salad out of chicken poop. You know, you get some old, rotted out, seen its better days cars, and you make it run and drive like a new car again. It's very rewarding. And so anyway, that's, you know, the way I look at it. You know, thank God I'm not having the issues they're having in Texas and parts of the South, you know, all over the country, actually. I mean, this is Michigan. We're used to that kind of stuff. But, you know, I lived in Savannah, Georgia for 6 years, and I saw it snow flurried there once, and I remember everyone freaked out and didn't know how to drive, and it's like it wasn't even enough to get any on the grass or the roads. But, you know, they're not used to it. So I get it. And yeah, this is sanding out pretty easy because I didn't put this paint on real thick either. And I just kind of gave it a, you know, it's no need to put it on thick on this. It's interior, it's not exterior, and it's plastic. And the plastic, you can see all these ribs here. See all those ribs? Everywhere in between them, the plastic over ages is, so you see all these little dimples down there because of that. You know, that's what happens to plastic when it gets old. It kind of deforms. There isn't much you can do about it. But I suppose I could put a thing of Bondo down there, but nah, I'm not going to do it, you know, and then sand it so it's all nice and smooth. But no, this is going to be just fine. And when this is mounted in I had it sitting in there and I was sitting in the car, you can barely see the surface. So, and none of those ripples showed up in the car when this was in the car, even with the top down sitting in there. So I think it'll be all good. But anyway, I'm just going to, you can see I had a couple little runs in the, run a little bit there, and they didn't even show up until I started sanding. And they're gone now, so they're super minor. All right, get back to this sanding. I'll stop blabbing and do all my sanding here. I ended up, I was just working on it, and I just decided to sand the whole thing out. These ribs are the hardest part to get the paint out of, but they're coming out, and I'll just take a little X-Acto knife probably and get the chrome out of the ribs. But it came out fairly easy with some sandpaper because I didn't put the paint on it very thick. The original finish and the chrome is harder to get off than what I repainted because I only put like 2 light coats on it. I didn't want the paint real heavy on it. And I'm going to prime it. I decided to take the whole thing down to bare plastic so I don't have to do it a third time. But this is what I'm going to prime it with, and it states right there, somewhere on here it makes paint stick to the plastic. This is actually what you'd want to prime like plastic bumpers on newer cars with if you want to paint them. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to prime it with this. There, right there. And then paint it, and hopefully then it'll come out all right. I'll put the paint on, let it dry a couple days, and I'll, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I'll do the chrome. But yeah, I'm just plugging away at it. I've been working on it for about an hour now. I've probably got another hour's worth of work to do on it. But it's, like I say, it's cleaning up pretty quick. I'm doing it all with 400. That'll be fine for the paint. The places where the chrome goes, I might go up to 1,000 after I paint it, because I'm not going to mask anything to paint it again. I'm just going to shoot the paint on it just like I did before, let it dry, and then I'll mask it off completely to paint the chrome again. And if it pulls, then I'll send it out, and paint pulls off a second time, I'll send it out and spend the money and have it chrome plated, and then I'll paint it. And this way, there's a couple nicks in the plastic. And this way I can sand like where the ignition switch was, there's a couple nicks where they hit the plastic with the key. And I'm going to sand them out too. And, but it's going to look good when it's done, I think, I hope. And anyway, I'm just going to plug away at it. I just thought I'd kind of show you what I was doing here. As I was sanding it, I was thinking, you know what? This thing's cleaning up pretty easy. Why don't I just go all out, sand the whole thing down, right to the plastic, and go over again. I mean, what else have I got to do on the car today? I could get tires, but I don't want to break the wheels down, tires down, until I'm ready to paint the wheels, to where I can sandblast them or bead blast them and paint them. And when the daytime highs are in the teens and 20s, and the nighttime lows are in 0 or below, there's no painting outdoors. And the wheels, I'm going to paint them outside. They don't need to be painted in the garage or the wheels, and they'll come out nice. This is going to get painted outside too, but I carry this in and out. Though the wheels I'll have to paint. I'm not going to be able to carry them in and out. They're going to stay out between coats. So I might wait until March when we get some 50, 60 degree days, and then I'll do the tires and wheels. And, I may order the tires and just so I have them, but I'm not going to have the tires broke down and start working on the wheels until we get weather according to paint. And in the meantime, I got this. I got an interior kit coming. I got chrome. Hopefully it'll be done in the next week or 2. So I got a lot to do. It's definitely not lacking anything. And this, I just wish, so this wasn't so messy. I'd just sit on the sofa, watch TV and sand, even though I don't watch TV, rarely ever watch TV. I'd rather do this than watch TV. So anyway, all right, I'm done blabbing again. Here I keep starting the camera up and just yap away here. So let me turn the camera off, and I'll just work on sanding this. I'm getting it all pretty sanded out. The only thing that's really been a nightmare is these are little grooves, and you got to get the sandpaper with the, fold it over and get it in there and try and sand the stuff out of there. That's been about them in here, all the way around and across here, and here, and here, and here. And these were, I sanded the paint off the ribs, and I took a little screwdriver and scraped it out of the indentations. I can actually scrape it out with my fingernail too. right down to the bare plastic, just doing that. So I'll finish doing that. Might go over this with some 600 tomorrow, and then I'll paint it. So I think that it's pretty good. I mean, you know, still have a few little odds and ends areas I can see where there's some paint and chrome in the nooks and crannies there that are hard to get at. And I'm just going to go around and work at them tonight. I'm going to get this thing completely 400 sanded out tonight, and then tomorrow I'll 600 it and paint it all black. I'm going to paint the whole thing black, let it dry for a couple days, and I'll redo the chrome on it. But it's moving. I got some black here. This is black plastic that was heat staked in. Does it show up there? So that stays, and I'll buff that a little bit before I paint it. But I got to carefully sand the black off this leading edge. It's just, I got about 3 hours into that right now. And this is what I should have done to begin with. I should have just sanded it out like that from the get-go. I think that would have saved me having to redo it all. But anyway, I'm just going to sit here and work at it a little bit more, and then I'll wrap up the video so I can edit one up for you guys. Tomorrow I'll 600 grit the whole thing, and I'll prime it up, let that dry an hour or so, and then I think I'm going to paint it with the trim black like I painted the dashboard, because this top here is kind of wavy from this ribbing, you know, it's kind of dished in between every one of those ribs, just slightly, and you could see it, and it kind of bothered me. But when it was in the car, actually installed in the car, it wasn't noticeable. I didn't really notice it, but when you looked at it down the side, you could see it. So I think if I use the trim black, it'll be a little matter. It won't be as glossy, and it won't be as pronounced. It won't show as much. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll paint the chrome after that. I think it's going to look good. If it doesn't turn out this time, I'll send it out and have it replated and then paint it. So yeah, it's a little bit of fuss, but you know, hey, that's life. I mean, it's no big deal. It's not like I depend on the car to get to work or anything. It's just a toy to play with, and you don't want toys to be aggravating. When things go wrong, you just get with it and fix it. You know, I mean, there's no point in throwing the part. That's just going to break it and make more work. So the key is just to think about, well, what can I do to correct it? And that's what I did, and I think this will correct it. I should have done this from the get-go. I don't know why I didn't. It wasn't that difficult. I got 3 hours total into that, and with all those little nooks and crannies and these ribs here, really surprisingly came out fairly easy. Anyway, that's it for this video today. If you like my video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, want to see this car finished up, hit that 348 engine icon there, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching my videos.